Okay, I'm Jordan Robbins, and today we're going to talk a little bit about a perfectly competitive firm's cost structure. And so when a firm is in perfect competition, that means that all firms in that market are the same and they're producing the same good, right? And so because of this, firms are price takers. And so when we have the firm's cost, there is a price which is picked in the market. And so this P star is the market price. And so perfectly competitive firms have to sell for that price, because if they sell for anything above that price, there's someone right across the street who's selling the same good for a lower price, and so everyone's going to buy from their competitors and no one's going to buy from them. And so they're constrained to always charge this price. So as such, for a perfectly competitive firm, the price is equal to the marginal revenue, or the additional revenue, or the change in total revenue as they sell one more unit is always going to be the price. And so that's only true for perfectly competitive firms, that price is equal to marginal revenue. Competitive firms, we also think of them as having an upward sloping marginal cost curve. And so that means that as they produce more and more units, it becomes more and more difficult and more costly. So the marginal cost of each unit is increasing, so an upward sloping marginal cost curve. The other curve that you'll see on this graph is the average total cost curve, which swoops down like this. Now the important characteristic of the average total cost curve is that the average total cost curve is crossed by the marginal cost curve at the lowest point of the average total cost. And so this is a very important concept to understand. And so we think of it, we remember it like this. If the marginal is below the average, then the average must be falling. And if the marginal is above the average, then the average must be increasing. And so the way that we like to remember this is if you think about your GPA. You can think of your average GPA as this average total cost curve that's swooping, and your semester GPA is your marginal cost, your marginal GPA. So if your marginal GPA is below your average GPA, your average cumulative GPA, your cumulative GPA must be falling. And if your one semester GPA is above your cumulative GPA, your cumulative GPA must be increasing. And so that's why this average total cost curve has this swooping relationship, and why it's crossed at its lowest point by the marginal cost curve. And so as we know, firms will maximize profits by producing where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So in this case, the profit maximizing level for this firm is going to be right here, with the intersection of this marginal cost curve and this marginal revenue curve. So this here is going to be our profit maximizing level. And at this point, when we want to calculate profits, we want to look at the difference between price and average total cost at this quantity. So at this quantity, our difference between price and average total cost is 0. So there's 0 economic profits. But let's say there is a different price, right? Let's say if for some reason there's an increase in demand or something happens to increase our market price to right here. So if we have this new market price, or this new marginal revenue curve, this is going to change our production decision, right? So we're going to want to produce, again, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So we're going to want to produce at this quantity, right? At this quantity right here. And so at this quantity, we want to calculate what the firm's profits are. So we're going to look at the difference between the price and the average total cost. So here we have our price, and at this quantity, our average total cost is right here. So this distance right here represents our profit per unit, right? And this represents the number of units we sell. So if we draw a line straight across right here, this shaded area represents our total profits, right? Or our profit per unit times our total quantity. And so that's how you calculate the profits for a perfectly competitive firm in the short run.
Great.
How long is that?